All right, so I hope you can actually see my screen. All right. So the logins we are going to work upon are these ones. So we open this with Google. The first one is this one. It is labeled 3. And the other one is this one. Yes, so we are going to work with these two, given that we have their HTML. So this will be the first one. Okay, we start with this. Yeah, we start with this one. And this was 3. So we shall only get this, the index.html, and we put it in 1. We place it there. Okay. Okay, so this is what we are going to. Now, when you actually open this in the web, this is what it will show you, because it has no CSS. So what we have to do is that we come to this folder here and we open it with code. So when we open this is the content we shall find there, and this is actually what is presented on the web here. Have the login as a division, and the division is taking this. So all these are inside a form, and this form is within some division which has a class container. And then the form end closes from here, and then we have another div that contains a class option and takes in these words here. So these are the words we see here, all connect with social media. So we also have another div that has a class Twitter, and the words are signed in with Twitter. So these are the words signed in with Twitter. And there is a class that holds an icon. So these are font awesome icons. They are font awesome icons. And so we shall make the title as our first login page. Okay, so now these are font awesome icons, and how do we access them? We access them by relating to a style sheet that is over the internet, that is stored over the internet. That's why you see hypertext markup lang, hypertext transfer protocol secure, and then we are trying to access something that is a content delivery network. We use content delivery networks to access some features that we shall inject in our websites that are remote. So you can get a picture from the internet, you get its URL, and then you link to it so that it can appear in your website. So this thing gets this file, all.mini.css, from this folder. subfolder, and then on this directory. This is now like a website.com. So we have subdomains here up to where that file is stored. So this file is expected to have all these things defined. The fab for Twitter to refer to as a Twitter icon. This one you see here, and this one to refer to as a Facebook icon. So they are defined there. Now, what else do we need to say about this? Now we also have our we have defined our CSS on our local machine. We are going to call style.css. Talked about classes and divisions. So shall always call these classes to actually try to edit, to make editings. Okay, now we are going to create a CSS file. A CSS file called style, style.css. This very one, shall use that very name. Now we expect that this thing is supposed to, it is supposed to be linked already because it is right here. Now this is 3. There is some URL we have to fetch. There is some URL we have to fetch for Google APIs. That one we shall not need to type it. It might be long enough to be typed. So we shall get it from here. We copy it, then we close this. So now this link here is important to our CSS to give us any more added fonts from Google API. So when you click to this, you can actually see some of the defined. Yes. Hello. Are we together?
Yes.
All right. So we use some of these content delivery links because they always have their CSS already hosted, and we just call by maybe some of the keywords we have used in our index file. For example, this thing here, input box, it might be defined somewhere in this. In this. Now let's also open this. You might find that some of these things now, like I said, input box might be defined. How do you know it is defined? Control F to find, and then we find input dash box. Now here it does not exist. Let's check in font Google APIs. Even here it does not exist. So if that does not exist, we might have any of these keywords defined, either input or any other, something like an element can be defined, and then it will always give proper editings about a certain element, either a paragraph or certain division. You have used a keyword that is already defined here in these content delivery networks. So you'll always be seeing the changes. All right, so now we shall start our editings, and I have put this star to help us continue with this. So we shall declare the margins. As 0. So if you declare something as 0, even if you don't put the measurements. Now we want to size We want to size this thing. We want to size this. So what we do there is to put a box sizing of a border box. So we said because this is an IDE, whenever you try to type something, whenever you try to type in something, it will always give you some possible options about that. So when we declare margins as 0 and padding as 0, we expect that our content will be in the sharp corner there, the sharp corner. So there is nothing up there, 0, and on the margins, on your paper. When you say margin 0, it means you don't want any space. You have not put any paragraph. So this is what it means. So we shall also declare a font family. With font family, these are things we see in Word. Where is Word? The font families are these ones here. These ones here, font families. So remember I said sometime back in maybe I think it was session 1 or 2 that some of these things appear in Word. Now we can justify, we can do these sentence upper cases and so on. We can do the justification, center alignment, we can do the left, we can justify, we can put spaces, we can, but in coding we just put commands, but here you just select, so that you put a thing, you copy, you highlight, and then you just select these things and it does them. Now in coding, we just write the instructions, but all these things are there in web development, just that we just put commands and they are reflected. So we shall declare a font family. There are different font families, depending on what you want, So here, as for me, I'll put in this one. Of course, I think I have to put it in brackets, these quotes, and I want Poppins, and also I want sans serif. Sans serif is a unique font that we basically use in web. So I think I have to close this. Example is done about it. So I have to refresh this. Now I get this kind of font. So there are different fonts, as you may search them over the internet and choose any kind of font you wish. Okay, now the next thing I want to edit, I want to edit the HTML, what lies inside the HTML and its body. So when I say on a body, I would have made changes for only this. And if I say the HTML and body, I must also include these ones. Now, because these ones are elements and they are known, we don't put those things of a dot and a hash. We just declare HTML because it is known. The moment you click, you type it, you'll see it coming, and we put a comma and body. So we want to edit this one. So what we do is we open those curly braces. I don't know if they are curly braces, but I hope they are. And we want them to display as grid. Okay, yes. So you can see options here. And when I come here, changes may not display, but then let us try to put the height. The height to probably, so we can decide different different dimensions depending on the on how you want it. Now, given that for us we have something we are following, something like a trial, we may need a fixed height and a fixed height and width. We might have a fixed. So we might probably say we want all of them to be probably 100. So what we do there is that we declare the height, and we also declare the weight. So we have declared the height first as 100 VH, and then we also declared the width as also 100%. Now, when you put a percentage, that means you want to equate it to, of course, 100 out of 100. Okay. Now, the other thing we are likely to also do is we want to place these items. We want to place items. You see, now these ones taking an argument. Whenever you place these things, the first thing before this full colon is an argument, and an argument takes in a value. The value can be a number, it can be text to refer to something, bold, italics, blue, red, or something. So the argument is place items, and we want to place items in the center. So whenever you type and this thing is in red, in this color, I think this is brown. If it is in brown, then it means that thing is known. But if it turns white, then it means what you are talking about is not known. So those are some of the errors we need to handicap. Okay, so I think you can see if we place these items in, we place them in the center, that is what happens. Okay. All right. So the other thing we want to do is to have a background. Now, if we look at this example here, now this background, this background here, the one we want to change. So what we do is to declare a background. Don't say background color, because we need to actually pass in other parameters. Now this background, we need it to be a linear gradient. Now, well, you see, linear gradient takes parameters inside. So we expect that when you bring in linear gradient, you have to put in parameters. So the parameters can be, we want it to right, we want it to move to the right. And to the right, you define the color. Now there are color codes. If you want orange, you move to the internet here and search in orange color code. So it will give you something like this. Now this is what we are interested in. That is what we are interested in. So we declare that the color code can be that 4D, and the moment you put it there, it will give you this. And if you go to the internet and you ask it which color is this, then it will give you the percentages, and it will mix up that color for you. So we also need to have another color, something like pink. Pink can be defined by 4D, I think. Yes. So we want all of these ones to be at 100%. What? I want to see if this thing has worked for us. Let's move back to our, oh yes. Now we have got this. Okay. Now let's go back here and check. Okay. Now let's also select a background for any selections. If selections are made, let's consider selection, and we give it, or we also give it a background, and background, not background attachment. We give it a background of, I think I can get this one. I copy this. Yeah, I have, let me copy this one. And it's the one I'm going to put here. BF. So okay, yes, now it has worked. Okay, now the other thing we want to do with our file is to now edit this container. Where is it? This one, the division that is holding the form and even these icons and all the sign up, these things, all of them. So because it is called by a class, we shall say dot container, container. Okay. Now the container, we shall have a background of white, because I think we come to it here, the background is typically white. And the color code for white is basically triple F. So okay, triple F. Yes, white. And we also want to declare it's something like a width to its maximum. So we say maximum width. Let it probably put a 340 or 50. Then we have to put in pixels. Okay, now I think you can see something like that. Okay, then we also put a padding of probably 25 pixels, 30 pixels. Now these pixels follow. We can have padding left, padding right, padding top, and then bottom. So we have declared only 2 parameters there. And now we have to put a border radius. A border radius is something that is going to curve this thing here, that it has a curve. So you can declare it to anything. Probably you can put 5 pixels, and we have some, we don't have these. See, you are looking nasty when we have just a rectangle. I think this is a square, if we have a square. But now, if we put in something like a curve, it will look more better. Now we need a shadow. We need a shadow for this box shadow. Declared it to 0, and then we put, now whenever you have a parameter as 0, you don't need to put in pixels. Now the box shadow can have the left, and right, and then maybe bottom. So we have declared a 0, a 10, and then probably 10 pixel, and then we declare the color of that box shadow, or the color of the box shadow to, yes, let me get red, green, black, and that. So you see here, when you declare this RGBA, the blue and then the alpha. So you have to take in parameters for all these ones. So if we want, we can declare this as 0. And then we also declare this that we don't want to make any color in green, and we don't want to make any color in blue, but we are interested in alpha, and probably we make alpha as 0.15, something like that. So we shall have something of the kind. And now, so we can now I think you see we have something that is a bit okay. And let me see on our minutes what we are left with. Okay, we have about 6 minutes to end our session. And now we can try to leave this box like this, and we try to now edit this. Right. Try to edit this. Edit. Okay. We now edit. We are going to edit the form. The inside this form, we are interested in now this division that is holding the word login. Yeah? This one, the title. So after the title, we shall also edit these ones. Now, the title is inside the container, and inside the container, we have the form, and inside the form, we have this class. So what do we do? What we do here is that we shall, of course, come with the container, and inside the container, we have a form, and the form, we have the dot title there. So I want to change the font size of that to maybe probably 30 pixels. And I want to see if this has, okay, good. All right, so we also wish that we give it a weight, the font, give it a weight, font weight. Now you see these ones do not take in any, they don't take in any unit, measurement unit. So you can choose any of your wish, probably that. And okay, the weight is like bolding your thing. So we also declare margins. I think you can see here when you talk about margins, there is margin top, bottom, left, right. That is their order. That is how they follow. So the first one is top, bottom, left, right. So the first one, top, bottom, left, right. So declare that the first one has 20 pixels, and with 0 we said we don't put any unit, and then declare like that. So this means we have the top, bottom, then left, and final right. Now, what does this tell us? Okay, now you see it has created some space. It was in the middle, but now we want it in line here. Okay, now the other thing is we want to position it. Okay, we don't want in edit. We want probably relative. Okay. All right, now I think that can be it for that. Let's also bring in the, okay, let me first see the other thing. Right. I think we need that before. So we can copy the same thing here, just see, and paste it here. We need the title before. And now the title before, we shall remove these arguments, and we start new. This is only one full column. We don't have any content there, but I think we shall declare contents and shall make it empty for any content to shall reserve that space. Now we want this before to be absolute. To make something absolute, you are fixing it. That's like in Excel, we do absolute referencing and fixed referencing. Now here, this thing tries to change a meaning. If you make it absolute, then it will be in that position. So we give it the height of probably 4 pixels. And of course, if you give it a height, then you also need the width of maybe 33. And probably we also declare the left and right. The left can be 0 pixels, and then the right. Now, with the moment why we declare left as 0 pixels, this can, let's make this one to the bottom, and probably put 3 pixels. Why we put 0 pixel is that we want to leave it defined. That's the reason as to why we put that. We want to leave it defined. So you also put a border radius here of probably 5 pixels, and so it will appear like that. Okay, now I think we also need a background for this. Background. Let it be, okay, let me get this one. I don't want to stress us. Me get this same one and I put it here. So we are left with only 1 minute, and I think we shall end on this today, and we shall continue from there. So this will appear like this. This is the thing we have put, and I think you see it appearing here. All right, so for now, we can actually stop from here, and then we shall continue next in the next session.